and welcome. My name is Bethany Thomas. I am a senior women's lacrosse player here at Tusculum University. This evening is the culminating event for the Diversity and Inclusion social media campaign. Tonight's event is titled, How Can We Rise Together? We have a group of panelists who will help us to dive into this topic more in depth and from many viewpoints. I will ask the panelists to introduce themselves by their name, class, sports, and hometown.
I guess I'll go first. Doing? I'm AJ Bellinger. I'm a junior. I play football here, and I'm from Jacksonville, Florida.
Hey, I'm Georgios Harpatrakis. I'm from Greece, and I'm the graduate assistant for Tusculum Men's Soccer.
Hi, I'm Trent Gibson. I'm from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I'm a junior and I play men's basketball here.
Hi, I'm Nash Johnson. I'm a senior here. I play lacrosse, and I'm from Kennesaw, Georgia.
Hi, my name is Amber Lackey. I'm on the women's tennis team. I'm from Norcross, Georgia, and I'm a senior.
Hi, my name is Jamila Toms. I'm a senior here. I play women's soccer, and I'm from Toronto, Canada.
All right, so now we're gonna ask just a couple of questions for them. So this question is for my international students that are on the panel. First question is, how well did your country respond to coronavirus back in March?
Well, we did pretty well as country compared to other European countries. Like Italy, I'm sure like everybody has heard of what happened at first in Italy. So our government took measurements and they tried to prevent uh, gatherings, and they shut down the borders pretty fast. So they didn't allow people like tourists to come in. So we were lucky enough, but uh, and we did well for the first couple months. But then of course we start uh, having more cases, and then we went to a full complete lockdown eventually. So
I feel like my country handled it pretty well just because once the outbreak got really bad, they shut down the borders. They made it clear that people that lived in Canada can come through the borders, but anyone to leave or any tourist or anything like that, they couldn't come in or leave. So they shut down the border completely. Everyone had to stay home. Um, they got control of the cases somewhat, um, and they just monitored it as well as they could.
The reason we're starting off with this topic is because it has affected our lives on a daily basis. As you can see, we're all wearing masks here today, and we're all athletes. So the next question is for everyone to respond. As an athlete, how much did it affect you when sports were taken away due to coronavirus?
For myself, it affected me just because the time that it happened, I was a junior. So everything was unsure and up in the air because we didn't know if we could come back. And now that we are back and things are kind of coming along again, but slowly shutting down again as well, it's affecting me because I don't know if I can come back next year and play. Um, for school, everything's like it's just unknown pretty much. So.
For me as well, when it happened, I was a junior, and the year before that, I tore my ACL, and then like having to not play sports, it was kind of a bum because I was really like looking forward to the season and everything, playing with my team, and yeah, that's it.
So for me as well, I was a junior, and just not having lacrosse just really affected me because we were coming off pretty hot in the season. Had a big game coming up, and then there was hearsay that we probably weren't even going to be able to play because teams are starting to shut down. And just getting back now, it's exciting to get back, but I'm also very on edge because I'm not even sure if I'm able to have a season this year for my going into my senior year. So
for me, when our season got canceled, we had to go right home and basically right into lockdown. So the biggest challenge for me was trying to find a way to stay active and stay in shape and be able to work on my game while gyms and things like that were shut down. Also, it was my sophomore year going to my junior year. It's just kind of an important time in our lives as athletes. So you don't know how many years you have left to play, and you don't want to waste another year.
Well, in my case, we were lucky enough to finish our season. So, like coming back, graduate. I was supposed to graduate in May, and coming back from Christmas break, it was like the last semester here, so we could actually like enjoy our time here with the other seniors, and having cut this off in a short time, like it was like so unlucky. But I mean, compared to other people, like that they lost their season is like at least we had our season, you know. So
For me, it was me going into my junior year. So basically, I was a sophomore. It was just basically being stripped away of our spring because that's the time that we could lift with the whole team. That's the time we have little competitions to get to know each other, bond. We also got a whole new OC, so learning the plays, I couldn't learn the plays as well because I had to do it virtually online over meetings, and that's different from being able to go out and do the plays like we did before everything got shut down. Um, I'd just say not being able to be in pads for a whole year because our spring got taken away, and the last time I was in pads was last October. So we finally got to be able to be in pads these past couple of weeks. But now that everything's starting to shut down again, definitely have to take the pads back off. It just basically affected me being able to learn and get better at my game, like Trent said, and just being able to have fun with it.
So, because of coronavirus, we are now having to adjust to online classes. How are y'all adjusting to these new form of college classes? Maybe some of them are also hybrid as well.
I'd say adjusting to online classes is a lot different from being in class because there's no more necessarily hands-on learning. Like it's basically you have to learn by yourself as well. It's outside. It's harder to keep up with things that you have to do if you're not used to having online classes, assignments, turned in or do at 11:59. You're not used to it, or you're used to having a teacher tell you. But it's just difficult getting used to just everything being online and having that motivation now because everything's like a lot more distant than it normally was.
for me, I feel like I'm getting distracted like very easy. So like being at home having classes, it's way too hard to focus for 2 hours in a certain point while you don't interact uh, with the professors or other students that much. So this is very challenging. But again, like you have to fight the adversity and adjust on the new ways in order to get things done.
Um, Especially when we got sent home, we had to go straight online. That was probably one of the toughest times to be a student for me. I think it was just hard to kind of find motivation and having to take 18 hours and all online was a tough situation. But when we came this fall, we're kind of doing the hybrid courses, and those are actually I like them a lot. It gives me time to learn outside of class as well as inside of class, and I just think the university has done as the best job possible to help us learn.
For me, like Trent said, it was hard to adjust going on to online because just it was a lack of motivation that was there. Just being able to wake up and go to class, and now it was just kind of just sitting through PowerPoints rather than actually having to pay attention, and it just kind of moved over to having to do assignments rather than having to really learn the material. But coming back into my senior year this fall semester, it was a smoother transition than what it was for spring semester. It was just a lot easier to help myself find that motivation to get what I needed to get done.
Um, like they all said, it was very hard to find motivation in doing your work. Like for me, I'm more of like I learn better when it's face to face, and when we got transferred to classes online, it was very hard to have motivation to do my classwork and get things done. So, yeah.
For me, I would have to agree. I'm someone that likes to be a little bit more hands on rather than teaching myself. Even though we have the teachers online, it's still something where you have to sit down and kind of go through the motions yourself to teach it, because it's not the same as in class where you can ask questions in person and like have the teacher go through a textbook or have them work out solutions with you. I know for one thing, like math, I can't do that online. It's extremely hard. It's something that I have to be face to face with. So that was a challenge for me. And I know that a lot of people do have different learning skills. So some people can teach themselves, some people can't. Some people have to be in class. Some people have to sit in front of a teacher. Some people have to sit in front of a screen. People learn different ways. So, I mean, it's just a learning curve for all of us at this point.
So, would any of y'all like to raise your hand if you've ever been exposed to someone who contracted the virus? Feel like those persons had you and your teammates' best interests at heart and hopefully playing sports this year?
Um, I would have to say no, but I don't know. I'm a little bit in between on it just because the time that I knew of the person contracting the virus, it was still so new. So it wasn't something where you can plan for it. It was something that just kind of happened. And as it happened, you just have to go with the motions. Um, the more we live through this lifestyle that we're living through now, um, people that continue to contract it, I would have to say yes, just because they know the decisions that they're getting into, and everything's a choice. So if you choose to leave your house or leave school or your room without a mask, and you contract it and you know you have it, and you continue to be around people, then you're hurting people's futures at that point. So yeah.
So we talked about a bunch with our team. It wasn't a matter of if we were going to have a positive case, it was a matter of when. So when we were exposed to a guy on our team that had it, it wasn't really any place for us to judge him because he wasn't the guy who was doing something that he wasn't supposed to be doing. He's a guy who's always doing the right thing, so we couldn't really blame him for getting a positive case because we knew it was going to happen sometime or later. So it's just now about what we're going to do with that situation and how we're going to go about it and how we're just going to plan for it and just find ways to avoid it in the future. But at the same time, these are trying times.
Similar to what Nash said, one of my teammates had contracted it, and I mean he has the same goals as us, and that's to win games and have a season. So I don't believe that he intentionally got it or wasn't doing the right things. But kind of like what Jay was speaking on as well, for people now that the virus has been out, 6-8 months, and people still aren't wearing masks or still at large gatherings, then that's irresponsible, really, and they know what they're doing. So I feel like for people who are behaving like that, then that's intentional.
Sorry. So, all think are some of the steps that we can take to possibly rid our campus of this coronavirus?
Um, it's a virus just like the flu or anything else. So like we spoke on, it's going to happen. People are you can get at Walmart, you can get anywhere. But I think everybody just coming together as one. We know if basketball, the whole basketball team catches it, that hurts the football team, or if the lacrosse team catches it, that will in some ways hurt the soccer team. So everybody coming together and doing what they're supposed to do, that's really one of the big ways to keep it away.
I agree with Trent. It's not really going away anytime soon. So just coming together is our best option. Again, these are trying times, so just putting the blame on somebody for something that you can't really control, but in the ways that you can control it. But then again, like he says, you can catch it anywhere. You can go to the store and catch it, or you can go to the bathroom and catch it. But again, you just gotta take the precautions that need to be kept, that need to be just take the precautions that need to be taken, and again, just come together and make sure we're looking out for everybody's best interest.
Like they said, you can catch it anywhere. So it's just a matter of when you're out, you're being responsible, you're social distancing with your mask on if you're in a large group, and we can just get through this sooner rather than later.
I feel like it goes back to be like the basics, honestly, from the things that we learned in like elementary school, learning to cover your mouth when you sneeze and cough. I feel like a lot of us forgot the basics. We wear the mask for a reason. Don't take off the mask to cough. Don't take off the mask to sneeze. It's there to protect and contain a virus and keep it to yourself. So covering your mouth, washing your hands 20 seconds, hot water, hand sanitizer, going outside, changing your masks, washing them, all of that, following basic steps, we can literally get through it.
Um, Basically, after what all they said, I agree. But I'd say like different things that our school could do, because like some people don't walk around with mask, or they break their mask, or different things happen. So I'd probably say different buildings have boxes of masks set up, different and a lot more hand sanitizers around, because we have them around campus, but there should be more, different ways that that you can clean up after yourself after you eat somewhere. Just basically allowing them to have things like disinfectant spray, or just different things around campus that we can have around in use, so that we know after we done use something, like it's either clean enough, or we know that we cleaned it. Because like they said, yeah, you can get it from going everywhere else just by anything, but knowing the certainty of that someone had the chance to clean up after themselves whenever they're around places, or has a chance to get a mask whenever they broke one or forgot it. Just different things that we could use, like maybe even gloves if you have to. Just different things that you could use around campus to keep our campus clean and COVID free as much as possible.
So great responses about a topic of corona, and you guys brought up a great point about working together in unity, which is going to be the next shift of our social topics. So I know we're in a time of corona, we can't do a lot, but what are some things you want to see happen on campus as either a student athlete or just outside of that?
I'd say different things on campus, like not necessarily big things to happen, but like small things that people can do in order to have themselves more aware of what they're doing. Small groups like this, like having students talk to other students about it, so that way it's not just grown-ups and they just feel like they're nagging, but no, like having other students or other people that's like your age tell you something to do, basically like peer pressure, having someone that is your age telling you that you need to be doing these things will definitely catch an attention of one of us more than it will an adult. So I basically just say like having other different little things like this that aren't just on the online, have them like on the field where everybody could be out there, the speakers are going while people are still talking. Different little like gatherings that will not necessarily keep the spread, but just having the students feel like they're still in college, because because there's a lot of stuff that's been taken away from us because of this COVID. But you can still have those things happen. Just keep it at a safe distance and having everything set up the way that you should for COVID.
I agree on that as well. Like we have a lot of like diverse cultures here. We have a lot of people from other places. Only from the fact that like we have the opportunity to utilize that and like learn about other people and just socialize about like other cultures, learn, educate ourselves, and like here at Tusculum we have a lot of like people that have we can do that like utilizing that opportunity. I think like it would benefit everybody in the school but also in the community. So
Basically, building off exactly what AJ said, it takes the students first. If we, to be around each other and kind of change things as far as get to know each other, or like yes, teachers and faculty can lead things, but student-led things are always better because it's by students and students know what other students want. And then another thing that what I think would help is just bringing athletics back. You know what I'm saying? We can go see each other play, go support each other. That's one of the main ways we get out and get to know each other, or get to see somebody that's in the classroom with you, and you see them on the field, or you see them on the court, and you can tell them good job, or you get to know them because that's our sports are really how we can express ourselves.
So, like AJ said, as college students, we've had a lot of freedoms taken away from us due to COVID. So, I guess as of right now, in the times that we're in, it's just having events set up to where we can still implement that social distance and just keeping those COVID regulations just a part of the events, but also just setting up more events around campus where students can still go out and do things and not have to feel like they have to stay in their room and just be cooped up in the room just because we're not allowed to go major gatherings.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see more gathering with students. So I work with intramural activities with Chuck, and we've had like some activities with table tennis and stuff. And I see like some tennis players there, soccer, football players. Everybody's playing together, having a good time, and we are social distancing with our mask on. So just some more activities like that, even if it is small, just so everybody can have some fun.
I would have to agree with the activities. Um, Also, just activities don't pop out of like thin air. Like ideas like that just don't come out of nowhere. So faculty can only come up with so many things that we might be interested in. They don't know what we want, so you have to use your own voice and speak up on what you find interesting and what you think other people will be interested to do. And that's how we can come together and do things that are fun, yet social distance, figuring it out together.
Great. So I want activities while we're here, but for my international students, if you aren't able to go home, would you like to see activities here during those times?
Um, oh yeah. Last year, I stayed over Thanksgiving break for the week that everyone got to go home, and honestly, it was so dead. Like there was people on campus, but it was completely dead. And there's nothing to do. Like all I could do every day was go to the caf and eat, then go watch movies, and then do it again. Like if we had something to do, even with just the people that were on campus, international or not, even with faculty, like it just helps with your experience of college.
I'm gonna agree with what Jamila said. Like I spent a lot of like summers here in America staying not in college but like I can see it because I've like talked with other teammates of mine that they stayed here in school over summer or Christmas because they couldn't afford to go home. Like it's so depressing sometimes, like just sitting here without having nothing to do and with not so many people being on campus. Like having something to do actually can help you mentally as well than just sitting in your room doing nothing. Uh, and just wait and wait every day to get past, like counting down the days until you get to go either home or the next semester to start. So definitely. Yeah.
Right. So hopefully we'll get to see some of those implicated. And we're going to take another shift into something we all like to talk about, sports. So if sports were to happen this year, what are some ways we can support our fellow student athletes?
Well, I've been here 4 years, and one of the things that I always liked is to have other students supporting us while we play. So, and I think that's the same for everybody here. When you have uh, people supporting you, either like I don't know how this is gonna be possible due to COVID, but I'm sure we can find ways that we can support each other in our athletics. So like yeah, finding these ways that other, let's say basketball or like can support men's soccer or soccer, like ways that every sport support each other would be a big advantage in our school and the mentality and the culture of our school.
Um, Basically, going off what he said of other sports supporting each other, I'd say basically having a specific section for where different people can sit. You know, like people from outside, like family members or different things, they have to sit in a specific section. Students sit in specific section, like with their teammates. You know, like being able to like go to the games and sit with them specifically, so that way you know that if anything were to get contracted from the virus or whatever, it'd be the people that you've already been playing with, already been practicing with, people that you already hang out with normally. You know, just I'd say having specific places like I know for a fact that UT for their football games they allow students to go to specific games like after the request. Like we could do the same thing for like tickets and stuff. Request specific things that we can use for different places because we have those little chairs in our we have those chairs in our stadium that have the student section or have the family visitors, just basically implementing where the people sit at so that way we keep everybody from a safe distance.
As far as COVID and just regular, having kind of events catered to the game. So I know basketball, we have our, our rivalry nights or our blackouts, and football gives out T-shirts before some of the games. But just making sure that it's communicated to the students, how important the game is. Like Nash said when lacrosse was going on their run last year or 2 years ago, we knew that, and we knew they had a chance to win the conference championship. So I feel like, um, you know, the bigger the game, or if it's an event, and people know that, they're more likely to come out.
So what we used to do as for my team, the men's lacrosse team, we would go out and we would support the volleyball team. We would have a student section for them, but due to COVID, we're not likely allowed to do that again. But I think the best way we can go about showing support for other teams is just making up, like AJ said, just making up a specific section that we can to have a student section, because the student section is just kind of something, even in the past, that hasn't really been implemented too much into other games, and we have just athletes who only go to specific other athletic events. And like Trent said, just stressing more on how important certain games are for certain teams, and just being able to get the word out. So whether that be having other teams make signs and posters for that team, or just getting with them and discussing ways that they can do just to support those other teams.
I would love to see coaches make going to other sporting events a priority, and supporting all of our other sports besides their own. So as you said, like your coach would make you go to like volleyball games. Instead of having it just one sport, how about make it all sports? Make set out different times for different sports, because I know like there's a lot, and some fall on the same days. But making the time just to show up and be there for everyone, I feel like that would be fair. And if it was COVID safe, I would say like student tailgating, like going to different away games. showing the spirit not only here but at other schools. I feel like that would have been cool, but obviously COVID. But yeah.
I agree. My coach, as well as Nash's, forces us to go to games, and I love going out and supporting everybody. And just to shift another topic, so we're going to talk about more social issues. We've had a lot of issues in America this year. The past few months have been really tough. So, how are you, as student athletes, address these certain social issues with your teammates, if you have to?
Hmm. I'll be brief on this one. For me, it's a little bit hard just because I'm not from here. So, pretty much anything that I don't know, I will not speak on. And if I do, I will voice my opinion. I won't fight with anyone, but I mean, everyone has an opinion to something. And if it bothers me, I could let someone know. But other than that, yeah.
Um, for me to speak on it, to be honest, I would be a little shy because, like, during the summer when all of this stuff was happening, I didn't really see any of my teammates, like, show, like, any emotions or anything towards that subject. So it would be kind of hard for me to speak about it with them.
So one of the things that we did at the beginning of the year as a team is our coach got us together and we just got together and we just started the conversation of what was going on, and we had each one of our players voice their opinions and voice how they felt on the situations that were at hand, and we just kind of just started that conversation, and anything that they didn't know, we helped them to best understand what was going on, or anything that they didn't want to listen to, we would just kind of educate them a little more on a certain situation, just because not a lot of guys on our team have certain experiences with certain things that are going on right now. So it's just all about starting that conversation and getting perspectives from different people.
I think real change or real, understanding comes from actual conversations, but the conversations can't just be passing by. It has to be a legitimate meeting or sit downs or with a little bit of structure, so people don't just get upset or try to tune them out. And I think that comes from either the leaders on the team or the coach kind of has to kind of organize that just to make it more, like I said, legitimate for everybody. Um, but also, there's people don't understand. Some people don't understand. It's really not their fault. They were just never a part of a certain community or never were raised around people, and that's a good thing about college. I mean, it's people that you would never have met, come in contact with, people from different countries or people from different cities, different backgrounds, which is good for us. So I think one of the biggest problems is just people just don't understand and people aren't educated. So as those who are going through it, you need to be able to you need to be able to communicate and educate your friends or the people you're talking to, and I think that will help.
Like Trev said, it's about how we are gonna try to educate the people that they have different beliefs by communicating with them and by making them, bringing them in our position, like how a different culture, a different way that we grew up, what, like how we can show them our perspective and make them understand what we believe or what, like, we lack of support, and just really educate and try, because I'm a strong believer through like communicating and bringing yourselves in the other's position, you can actually, like, bring something positive out of it.
What the football team has done was basically like what Nash and his team did. Just instead of like sitting down and talking about it, our coach actually after practice had all of us sit down, and people who wanted to speak on the certain situations that they've had been through or certain situations that are going on right now in the United States. Just talk about it and understanding the different perspectives of it. There was everybody had a voice that they could say anything that they needed to say. You know, there was no hatred towards no one another. It was just basically making sure that everybody knew the situations that was going on and how different it could be for somebody else from a different color or from a different uh, country. It's just because I mean it's not necessarily just African Americans that I guess we're all talking about. It's also just being uh, uneducated, like they said. Like it's us not knowing the different things that we can overcome instead of just being, like the statistics that everybody's supposed to, hold on, the statistics that everybody makes us out to be. Um, just like they said, just educating, that's basically one thing I believe is the biggest priority for us as human beings, Americans that are coming up to become leaders, to become different things in the world for other people to see us as, just educating ourselves on what the system is and how things should work.
Yeah, so educating is really a big deal, and so do you think that our faculty as well has a responsibility to educate other students who may not be athletes on any type of social topic that's going on today?
The faculty does have a big part in that, but I feel like it's the same as when we talk about students should be able to get to know the students from the gatherings. Like it should be students should be able to understand other students' perspective from their peers, so that way they understand it a lot more than what a faculty member would say. But faculty members also can set up these different things. I remember faculty members set up a Black in Greenville thing. That helped us out really by understanding the situation of being an African American in the United States and how different situations can affect us just because of our color. So that definitely helped well, and I believe faculty members can help as well.
I believe the same way. Like faculty members, 100% can uh, help to raise awareness, help to educate students maybe that they are not athletes, they don't interact with other people as much, and putting faculty members up front by uh, encouraging people to come in those gatherings or encourage them people to talk with different cultures, different perspectives. I believe that would be very helpful, like to raise awareness.
Basically what they said. I just think that you can't force anything on anybody. So whether not in classes or not anything like that, but there does need to be opportunities for those to learn just what's going on or what their brothers and sisters are going through. I think that um, you know you can't force anything on anybody because they won't want to learn. I mean, nobody wants to have anything forced on them, but if there are opportunities for them to be able to express themselves or how they feel or hear how others are feeling, then things can get better.
I definitely think that faculty members do have a certain position that they have to help start a conversation and just have things available to students to come and have them talk about these certain topics. So just stuff like this, like panels like this, just having the students come in and address their opinions and address their life experiences to what they've experienced. Just, I mean, speaking from as being just a black lacrosse player, it's definitely a different world, but at the same time, my coaches made it prevalent that we as student athletes have a voice, and he made it prevalent that we need to start the conversation. And it's sometimes it starts with the leadership position, but it starts with us with being able to be willing to voice our opinions and just realize that we have a voice, and that the only way we can come together is to start by understanding each other a little more.
Like what all of they said, what AJ said about the black and green event, a faculty member organized that, and students and faculty got to speak on that topic together. And what Trent said, like, you can't force anything on anybody. If they want to speak up or if they want to learn about the topic, they will. And
I feel like they all answered the question pretty well. If a faculty member wants to speak up, I feel like they should choose to speak up. I feel like more need to speak up, but again, you can't force anyone to do anything. So,
Just should take that next step to learn about their international students?
I feel like, well, yeah, we all have different things going on. Like, for me, for an example, for me, like, I have Thanksgiving. My Thanksgiving's in October. Maybe you should
have a conversation or um, help celebrate it with me. I don't know. I'm not at home, right? So you guys are my family when I'm not at home. So days like that, celebrate it with me, not just not know about it, even if I say it, you know?
I would definitely like to know more about my international friends because, for example, like my teammate Emily, she's from Denmark, and she was like telling me how her boyfriend was only able to visit for like a 90-day period, and then he had to go back. So I would definitely like to like hear like random interesting facts like that, and that can even be um, like a student activity or gathering where we're looking forward to learn more about internationals so we can bond together.
So with our team, we have a very strong Canadian presence on our team. About half our team are Canadian, so we definitely do have a lot of uh, just kind of learning events about Canadian culture, and we celebrate Canadian Thanksgiving, like Jamel was saying, with our Canadian teammates. And then when it comes to our Thanksgiving, since they're in such different times and some guys aren't able to go home during Thanksgiving, during our Thanksgiving break, we take the step to invite some guys back home with us. But I would definitely would want to learn more about my other international students. Like, I just got to know Georgios this year a lot more, and the only real thing I know about him is that he's from Greece. But I would definitely love to know more about all my international students that are on this campus. So,
Sorry. I would love to see like more events, so or International Day, where we can get together and try different foods, or just see the culture, wear your traditional clothing, do something that is traditional to your country, and have everyone see it.
I think, especially your teammates, I feel like that's the easiest access you get. Obviously, you're gonna be with them 24/7, workouts, things like that. But like everybody said, having maybe something like this with just the international students, where they can express, what it's like, because we really don't know what it's like. Um, and also, I feel like, just like you said for the Thanksgiving, I didn't know that, and I'm sure a lot of other people didn't know that. So I feel like our teammates and others should be willing to share and let us know, what's okay, what's not okay, and help us understand, what we can do to help them feel more at home here.
Like the guys said, I think meeting people like from other cultures and countries, it's a way to travel in these countries, to travel in these cultures, and learn about these people like more the same way as me and Jamila and international students come here. We don't know pretty much anything about the United States, but we adapt ourselves in order to learn about the American culture. We don't expect you to know, but believe me, it would be really nice if people actually get to be interested or to learn from where I am, what I'm doing back home. What's like the some events that we do, and for sure like the difference in the food and in the culture. Like I mean, everybody would love some like Greek food or some like Canadian food. Like just from little things you can open your mind a bit. Like from me when I came here, it was like a completely different world, seeing how you guys are in your daily life and everything. But that opened my mind. Going back home, seeing what's different, what could be changed, and I think that's a big thing that we could do here because we have the opportunity to do that.
I definitely feel like it's a big, like, we definitely should get to know the people that we are around. We don't have very many different internationals. Well, I don't think we have any internationals on the football team, but going around from last year, I actually met someone who's from Australia, and I remember this story because they was talking about Christmas, and normally we see reindeer as the things that are bringing Santa around, but Australia they see kangaroos, which was completely mind-opening for me. Like I was like, what? But then you just realize, and actually we was just talking about this before this actually started. Georgios, remember when you said that when you came here, all you seen was the things on TV, and all we see is the things on TV for different places around us too as well. So just coming to and understanding different cultures and seeing the different things. Like I also watched a different thing like on Egypt, whatever we see the desert, sand, like all this, but actually Egypt got money, like they got a bunch of they got a bunch of nice things out there. We only see what we see on TV. We don't understand where people come from. So I definitely think we should definitely get to know the different cultures because, like they said, they don't celebrate President's Day overseas. They don't celebrate the 4th of July. Like they don't celebrate these things, and these things are new. Like what is their 4th of July? What is their Labor Day? What is their St. Patrick's Day? We don't know, but it definitely should open our minds up to see the different things that they celebrate so that we could incorporate them into feeling like they're still home.
So when we all come to school, no matter where we're from, we want a family away from our actual family. So as a family at Tusculum, we need more programs and activities, right, for our international students. What type of steps do you think need to be made for those programs, and what should these programs be implementing on a daily basis?
I feel like these programs should be um, like led by the international students, like having them say like the different things that they go through from back home and having the different things that they celebrate. They should tell like our faculty members to set things up so that way we see how it is for them. Like we understand the different cultures that they go through, like food, different events. Like we do such things so normally, and it's just like it's normal to us. But having a different standpoint and perspective open our eyes is a lot different. So I feel like we should definitely have them implement the different things that they go through.
For sure, like events like that internationals could make would help a lot, but like actually helping people to like maybe the faculty members by making sure that everybody knows that an event goes on, or like people actually know that what's going on campus about the international students that can actually attend and be interested. Because like if there is not something that we make it interesting for the people that they don't care about, or they choose to not care about like international students, or like actually make them like believe, oh, I should go there because I can like learn something new there. I can learn, like, can benefit myself to go there. Also, like, being part of a bigger family than just my sport. So that's
Building off what Giorgio said, I think they should, international students, along with the faculty, should, um, they first have to have kind of the excitement or energy behind it, because they know what it is, they know exactly what it is, and we don't. So if they're not excited, or if they're not pushing it, or if the cafeteria doesn't have the food, or if there's not events for it, then there's nothing we can really do. But I feel like if they have energy and like Jay spoke on, they're wearing their traditional clothing, or there's we're celebrating in the cafeteria that day about it, then it will open more eyes.
Yeah, definitely building off of what Trenton said. Just having that excitement about it and just bringing that awareness to it, because I know we sometimes have events set up, and faculty will email us about it, but not a lot of students will get excited about it, so it'll just kind of be shrugged off. But if there's a large international, speaking of the international kids, there's a large international student presence, and if Jamila or Georgios was willing to tell me about it, I would definitely get excited about it and want to get behind something like that.
So just like what they said, if the international students need to work with the faculty. If they're not excited about it, we're obviously not going to be excited about it. I forgot what I was about to say. Yeah, so I just like to learn about like the food, like what do they eat for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, their music, like what dances do they do, and other things like that, because we don't know about it. It's new to us. If they had an event, I would definitely go because I don't know anything about them. It's new, and yeah.
I feel like the first step is having the international students on campus know that they have a voice, and having them know that speaking up on certain things that they're uncomfortable with or certain things that they want to see change is important, not just to the students but faculty as well. So the more people that speak up about it and share their opinions on certain things and tell people that their holidays today or they like certain music, if they want to hear more of it or they want to hear less of it, the more that happens, the more people can be aware. It's more like a learning experience. So educating people, really.
So a lot of great points were made tonight, and just as a last general closing question, does anybody else have any other things like opportunities or actions that we can do to make our experience at Tusculum here as regular and international students a lasting thing for us?
I'll say something. So to get like more students interacted, so I work with intramurals, and yes, like I sit outside every single day and have people sign up for events, but only like 3 or 5 people will show up. So I would just want to see more students come to more events, and it's like some people that are like too cool for school to come to these events, and it's like, okay, if you're bored and if you have nothing to do, just come to the event. You'll have fun. You don't know. You've never been. So just come, give it a try, and most likely you'll have fun.
Just going off what Amber said, I feel like you guys do have a lot of events like that. Personally, for me, I don't even know about them half the time. So I feel like maybe having a social media platform or another way to broadcast that events are going on instead of just an email or a sign. Because honestly, half the time we don't really look at them. So another way just to get the word out that events are happening or to have new events to come in can be out there. I feel like that would help out a lot.
Just again going back on the getting other students excited about certain events, and that has to start with more representation. So I know with a lot of we just have a huge student athlete presence on campus, and a lot of that doesn't really leave room for mingling with the non-student athletes that are on campus. So definitely just having that more representation of student athletes from certain teams, whether they're starting committees, and getting other non-student athletes to come in and just have a committee, and start the representation of being able to start these events and getting their teammates excited and getting their friends excited about certain events that are coming up. So I definitely think that would be something that will help. And then again, with what Jamil said, having a social media presence, because a lot of the events that go on, especially with intramurals, I don't hear about them at all. So definitely, since everybody's always on their phones, get a social media presence out there.
I just think as a culmination of basically everything we spoke on, whether it was COVID or getting events or helping people feel welcomed here, the main underlying theme that we need to accomplish is that we're all here together. We're all basically one. We're a family, and we need to treat it like that. So we need to support each other in the sporting events, and even if you don't feel like you're being supported, just keep going. You gotta, like we said, have excitement and keep trying to do what your goal is, and people will come around. Also, if people aren't coming around, maybe they just don't understand or they don't know. So continue to be yourself and try to educate those people on why you're doing what you're doing.
I'm gonna agree with the guys, and like especially with what Trev said, like having people like actually under a feeling under a big family and actually feel it, not just say it. Uh, Talk, interact with other people that you probably wouldn't interact other ways, like through those events, and by attending and raising like the people that attending on those events, like we could do like we could actually feel a lot of like different in the way that like in our daily life here how we interact with the people and how like we can do something better for our community as well.
I feel like basically going up what they said with the intramurals instead of like basically just because they're in specific spots throughout campus, like they're basically hidden for other people to not be able to see unless you signed up or know exactly where the location's at. So basically, I'd say get more things that are outside where people are walking by, and be like, "Oh, what's that over there?" Curious. People are nosy. I'm nosy. So hey, you know what I'm saying? Catching people's attention outside, creating not necessarily big explosions, but having it to where people catch the attention of what's going on will definitely help. And then exactly what they said, just support from other teams. Like yeah, we all have our own little cliques or whatever, but at the same time, we're all one big family, so we should be able to go tell other people, oh, you did great during this game, you did this, you know what I'm saying? Like, without having to feel like we're being heckled or whatever, but like just allowing other people to talk with each other, you know what I'm saying? Not necessarily keep them so bottled up in their room that they don't create that social, standpoint. Like some people aren't very good at being social in the first place, so maybe helping students out with different events like that, just creating different scenarios where people can get out of their comfort zone, instead of just, people being homebodies, no, like make some things mandatory, make things to where people can go to them for credit or for this, you know what I'm saying? That gets people's attention. Ooh, I might be able to get credit for this class, or especially during these times where it's in over the computer. Like a lot of people don't have motivation, but like getting someone to be able to get out there and do things, will create people to have that drive to want to keep doing things, keep getting better, and show support for everyone else. So I feel like it's just creating that getting that excitement for everything, like we've been saying.
All right, well, thank you all for coming and voicing your opinions on everything. And I would just like to say, one step we are doing to educate others on campus is we do have a Black Student Union that's starting. We would like to see the international students come up with something, and maybe anybody else who wants to have a voice on this campus. So again, thank you all for being here, and thank you all for tuning in. Good night.
Pioneers. And we're out.